With its innovative gameplay, a rock-solid community, and nearly endless content, Ark Survival Evolved was once hailed as the greatest survival game of all time. But in just the past few years, this brand's reputation has been in complete freefall. Even the most die-hard fans are slowly turning their backs on it. So, what's happening to the survival game that once ruled the internet? Who's responsible for Ark's dramatic downfall? This is Loaded Dialogue. Let's dive deep into this gaming tragedy. Surviving with dinosaurs. Ark Survival Evolved is an open-world survival RPG crafted by Wildcard Studio. In the game, players are dropped into worlds called Arks, where their mission is to survive harsh wilderness conditions and defeat the area's bosses. To make it in this dangerous land, you have to find food, water, build shelters, and craft everything from clothes to weapons. But Ark's most iconic feature is the ability to tame wild creatures like the T-Rex, woolly mammoth, or the mighty Argentavis to aid in your hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Launching in early access on June 2, 2015 for PC, Ark immediately grabbed gamers' attention with its innovative concept and surprisingly deep gameplay for its time. Even while still in early access, Wildcard Studios successfully sold 5.5 million copies, creating a monument in the survival RPG genre. By August 2017, the game officially hit shelves across all platforms from PC to Xbox. By the end of 2023, Ark Survival Evolved alone had sold over 79 million copies, landing it on the list of best-selling games of all time. Beyond the base game, Ark features 11 DLC maps, including 5 paid DLCs: Scorched Earth, 2016, Aberration, 2017, Extinction, 2018, and the 2 Genesis expansions, 2020 to 2021. Each DLC delivers a completely new map packed with fresh creatures, and the paid DLCs each introduce wildly unique mechanics that completely overhaul the core experience. On top of that, Ark's modding community is absolutely thriving thanks to direct support from Wildcard themselves. There are over 20,000 Steam mods dedicated to Ark Survival Evolved. Standout mods like The Sinner are even getting picked up and developed by Wildcard Studio itself. With this massive content library, Ark should easily have another few decades of life left in it. But in just the past few years, the franchise is going downhill fast. The player count on Steam is dwindling. Reviews are blazing red. So, what went wrong? The historic lawsuit. Back in 2009, long before Studio Wildcard was even a thing, Ark's creator, Jeremy Stieglitz, teamed up with a friend to found Trendy Entertainment, which would later be renamed Chromatic Games. Just a year after launch, their debut title, Dungeon Defenders, was a massive commercial and critical hit. By 2012, Trendy had secured an $18.2 million investment from a venture capital firm. But when you take corporate money, you play by corporate rules. They were immediately forced to halt all other projects to focus exclusively on developing Dungeon Defenders 2. 2 years later, Stieglitz was fired from Trendy Entertainment following a series of scandals related to creating an unhealthy work environment. Kotaku even published a direct criticism, calling it a video game studio from hell. On the flip side, some employees defended their director, claiming the article was a fabrication. To this day, it's unclear who was telling the truth. But one thing is certain: losing its lead director sent Dungeon Defenders 2 completely off course, turning it into a massive flop and losing over $20 million in investment. After leaving Trendy Entertainment, Jeremy Stieglitz signed a non-compete agreement and declared he'd take a year-long break from the gaming industry. But just 2 months later, Stieglitz co-founded Studio Wildcard, and as we know, Ark Survival Evolved became an instant smash hit, blowing its predecessor, Dungeon Defenders, out of the water. Almost immediately, Studio Wildcard was slapped with a lawsuit from Trendy Entertainment. I mean, imagine investing tens of millions only for it to blow up in your face, and then you see the guy you just fired strike gold with his new project. You'd be pretty salty, right? So, on December 18th, 2015, Trendy Entertainment sued Studio Wildcard and Jeremy Stieglitz for breaching the non-compete agreement, accusing their former director of starting a competing company right after he left. At the time Wildcard was founded, in October 2014, Stieglitz had only been gone for a short while. Trendy demanded a staggering $600 million in damages. However, due to a lack of evidence from the plaintiff, the case was settled out of court, with Wildcard agreeing to pay Trendy $40 million. What really happened behind the scenes? Well, only the people in the room will ever know, since the final agreement was settled privately. However, this legal battle opened the door for a new player to enter the scene, Snail Games, from our good old neighbors in China. You have to understand, ARK was a massive project requiring a huge budget, and just before the lawsuit from Trendy even hit on December 4th, 2015, Wildcard had already signed a deal that essentially brought them under the Snail Games umbrella. With the requirement to pay $40 million to Trendy, Wildcard inevitably became completely dependent on their Chinese sugar daddy. After the deal with Snail Games, Wildcard and ARK soared for several years, becoming one of the most recognized names in gaming worldwide. But when they finally started working on ARK 2, that's when the real trouble began. The downfall of ARK Survival Evolved. In June 2022, Wildcard released the Fjordur DLC to a massive welcome from the community. Not only was it the most polished free map for the game, but it was also meant to be the final expansion for ARK Survival Evolved before the studio went all in on ARK 2. During the launch event, ARK went free-to-play for a week and smashed its own records, hitting a new peak of nearly 250,000 concurrent players on Steam. First teased at the Game Awards 2020, ARK 2 was initially scheduled for a 2023 release, promising an Unreal Engine 5 overhaul and starring superstar Vin Diesel in the lead role. And yes, you heard that right, Vin Diesel is apparently a legit dino addict, with over 1,000 hours in the game. The sequel immediately became a hot topic across the internet. But 2023 came and went with radio silence, except for delay announcements pushing it to 2024. Some said it was a funding issue, others claimed it just needed more polish. All the excuses sounded plausible enough until the game was officially delayed indefinitely. Rewinding to 2023, instead of releasing ARK 2 as planned, Wildcard and Snail Games launched ARK Survival Ascended, a remake of Survival Evolved using Unreal Engine 5 graphics. The catch? It was a buggy, poorly optimized mess that was sold for $50, 3 times the price of the original. This completely contradicted CEO Jeremy Stieglitz's previous tweet promising this would be a free update. Clearly, fans couldn't be satisfied with this quality. In an interview with Navik, CEO Jeremy Stieglitz shared that the new changes would affect many aspects of ARK, causing save files and mods to malfunction, making upgrades unfeasible. Instead, Wildcard chose to create a new game based on old content. That's Ascended. However, with benefits that should have been free suddenly becoming paid in the remake, gamers obviously wouldn't be foolish enough to abandon the smoothly running ARK Survival Evolved for the new house. But nobody could have predicted the betrayal. On September 30th, 2023, just 1 month before Ascended's launch, all Survival Evolved servers shut down. According to Stieglitz, these official servers were outdated and resource-intensive, making it impossible to maintain them while developing ARK Ascended and ARK 2. This meant ARK fans had to either move to Ascended or set up private servers. But more importantly, shutting down servers would turn tens of thousands of hours of player progress into smoke, as transferring between the two games was impossible and private servers lacked the competitive edge. Losing everything, longtime ARK fans had every right to be furious. Add in the fact that Ascended was expensive and ran like garbage, and its mixed rating on Steam is honestly generous. Being forced into a new game fractured the once mighty ARK community. Staying with Survivor Evolved meant no official servers and no new content, while moving to Ascendant meant a high price tag and a game your rig might not even be able to run. Just like that, the community built over nearly a decade began to fall apart. To make matters worse, Ascendant was basically just a reskin of the original, with recycled content. The Center DLC for Ascendant even got a mostly negative rating from the community due to its overwhelming number of graphical bugs. All of this made Ark Survival Ascendant look pathetic next to newer, more polished titles like Power World or Enshrouded. The PvP community wasn't happy either. Core mechanics like building bases in tiny, hidden spots called rat holes were no longer possible. This was often the only way for smaller tribes to stand a chance against massive zergs. On top of that, Ascendant made the foolish mistake of setting artifact spawn points, items needed to summon late-game bosses, at single, unchanging locations. This allowed powerful clans to easily control them and create massive advantages over solo players. But it gets worse. The community was also in an uproar over the game's predatory monetization. Paid DLCs for Ascendant are widely considered pay-to-win, introducing game-breakingly powerful creatures like the Pyromane. If you've played Genesis 2 or Furo DLC and Evolved, you'd understand how overpowered Shadowmane is, one of Ark's strongest creatures in history. In this new DLC, Pyromane isn't just a copy-paste of his predecessor, but can burn everything around it and shrink in size. This severely impacts PvP balance when any tribe owning the DLC becomes server kings. PvP became increasingly stale. Then there's the server issue. In Survivor Evolved, you could host your own server from your PC or use services like G-Portal to save money. In Ascendant, the entire server system is exclusively managed by a single company, Nitrado, with prices ranging from $4 for 3 days to nearly $46 for 3 months, a ridiculous price for a few friends who just want to play together. The reason for this market monopoly? Nitrado had invested $4 million into Ascendant's development. Despite the high cost, the servers weren't even stable. Server rollbacks and crashes became a daily occurrence, so much so that players started calling it a feature. Every crash meant lost or corrupted progress, driving countless players insane. The breaking point came on February 26, 2024, when nearly 1,000 Ascendant servers went down for a full day. Sure, rollbacks happened in the original game, but never on this scale. Making games carelessly, even trailers are extremely questionable. After 3 years of silence, a new DLC called Aquatica was announced for June 2025, promising a fresh underwater experience. But when the trailer dropped, fans were horrified to see that it was 100% AI generated. While previous Ark DLC trailers featured invested cinematics and real gameplay, Aquatica was nothing but a joke. Quoting SyncTech, a prominent Ark YouTuber, "This is disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourselves." Another creator, the Axeman, said, "This doesn't resonate with your audience at all." Note that these are two highly influential community figures who've always supported new Ark products. This was the moment the cracks between Wildcard and Snail Games became visible to everyone. The official Ark Ascendant X account posted a statement clarifying that Aquatica was Snail Games' responsibility and that Wildcard had nothing to do with it. Around this time, the community started exposing shady behavior from Snail Games employees. On official servers, PvP and raiding are part of the game. But the CEO of Snail Games didn't seem to think so. During one session, his tribe, known as the Tia tribe, was attacked and defeated. Instead of taking revenge like a good sport, he chose the petty route. He banned the players who beat him, claiming they were cheating. Luckily for them, the players had live-streamed the entire raid, providing clear evidence of the CEO's power trip. If you don't want to get raided, maybe just play on a private server with your friends. On top of the power abuse, Snail Games was caught using admin powers to sell items on official servers for real money. In official Ark, crafted items are always primitive tier. Higher quality gear can only be found randomly in loot drops. That's why getting an Ascendant quality item is a huge deal. But there's one other way to get them. Spawn them in with admin commands, which is basically cheating. Yet Snail Games were doing that, selling these items on official servers. This completely breaks game balance. A 300% damage Ascendant long neck rifle can one-shot almost anyone. This wasn't just limited to items, they could also spawn in blueprints, meaning a single whale could craft thousands of these god tier weapons and rule the server. The most telling detail? Wildcard Studio remained completely silent about all of this during the entire lifespan of Ark Survival Evolved. This led many to question the true nature of the relationship between the two companies. With all these issues, the concurrent player count for Ascended is in a nosedive, even falling below the now-dead Survivor Evolved. Wildcard's financial situation probably isn't what it used to be. And since they have to juggle developing new content for Ascended while also fixing its endless bugs, the future of Ark 2 remains incredibly bleak. Looking at the roadmap for Ascended, we might have to wait for GTA 7 to come out before we get to play as Vin Diesel and tame some dinos. Ark's decline clearly results from broken promises and misguided business strategies. After countless sky-high promises, Ark 2 still doesn't have a single gameplay footage. Meanwhile, the beloved Ark Survival Evolved had to shut down to make way for an incomplete, money-grabbing remake called Ascended. Have you ever played Ark, and what are your thoughts on its downfall? Leave your opinions in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for our upcoming videos. This is Loaded Dialogue. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.